This is George Pitcher talking. Normally Peter is making the introductions, but he couldn't be here today. With me is Lennox Chambers, who's the inventor of the simple 1-2-3 system, and myself, who have been a Forex mentor for quite a few years. Now, the main topic that we're going to be talking about today is how to use the simple 1-2-3 alerts, which have proven to be really beneficial. We have the usual disclaimer, and you can read that over at your leisure. Pay attention to the things in red. Now, if you have any questions, please put the questions in the chat box. There's no such thing as a stupid question. And I suggest you stay tuned to the very end because we have a number of special offers on this. We've made some new changes, and we want to talk about that at the end of our presentation. Well, Lennox developed this system in the early 1990s where he started out in the stock market using options, etc. He ran into Peter Bain, and Peter started telling him about Forex, and lo and behold, he found that it works like a charm on Forex. Lennox, do you want to talk about anything at this point?
Sure, I can just give everyone a little background on how I started out in this world of trading and so forth. Welcome everyone. Glad everyone could make it this afternoon. We appreciate you taking the time to do this. For me, basically, as George has said, I started out trading in the early 90s, mid-90s. I was working for the government at the time, and I'd just gone through a divorce in my life, and I was looking for some way to make some extra money because I had to pay child support and so forth, and looking for a way that I could pay my child support each month with some extra money. For me, basically, was just going to the library every day and going to the financial section. So every day I would, after school or work, I would go straight to the financial section of the library, go through each row and looking for books, how I could make some extra money. I came upon a book called the Elliott wave theory, and started reading that, and it's telling me that I can see patterns in the chart. If I can see these patterns and count the waves, then I would be able to have an idea of what was going on. And it seemed almost fiction, but I delved into it, and I basically got a PhD in the Elliott wave. I just studied it over and over and read that book over and over and over. And eventually in the mid-90s, I decided to, using all the parameters that I had for the Elliott wave theory, I decided to write a program, the wave calculator, which was in Visual Basic at the time, and started to use it. And I was telling everybody, look, I can see where prices are going on the stock market. I know that the Dow is going to tank or whatever. And like in 1998, I knew that based on the Elliott wave theory, I could see that the market was heading to a peak and is going to drop and so forth. And I was calculating prices. In the early 2000s, I could see that gold was going to go skyrocketing up to 1,000. And people were like, no way, it's at 300 now. How is it going to get to 1,000? But it is. Things like that. So anyways, that's basically how I delved into that world and found it very, very useful. So basically for me, it was the Elliott wave 1-2, which we now call the 1-2-3, that got me into trading and believing that it was possible to make profits in the markets. So I met Peter. I never even looked at Forex, didn't even know much about it at all. And he said, oh, I can show you how to make money. I can show you how to make $4,000 a month in the markets. And I thought, wow, if that's possible, then that would be great. So we got together, he showed me, and I thought, okay, I can do this. And so I started off using 10 lots at a time. My first account I opened was $5,000, and I started using 10 lots. And he came to me and said, you use 10 lots? And I said, yeah. He said, nobody uses 10 lots. I said, well, 10 lots is what I usually normally do in options. And I doubled my account in my first trade, so I was hooked, and so I just kept using 10 lots. But now I've kind of, after all that time now, it's been a year and a half, I'm sort of settled down, and yeah, occasionally I go 10 lots, but now I kind of, 2 lots and 3 lots, things like that, 5 lots. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at, and the 1-2-3 system works beautifully, and I'm sure you'll see as we go along. Thanks, George.
Now, here's some of Lennox's trades. These are most recent. Up the top or left, you see it's January 11th of this year of trades. And you see there's very few losses on here. There are some very big trades over $11,000, over $8,000, etc. But these are from 10-lot trades. The smaller ones are 1 and 2 lots. I have 3 pages of it. You can look at them later. But they go back to November of 2017. I just wanted to show you that, he's made a heck of a lot of trades over the course of the year and quite profitable. We're going to show you some of the recent trades in January of this year. All these systems use the 1-2-3 method. Here we have, you can see he was in here using the 1-2-3 at this point. Here's our 1, a 2, and a 3, and here's the targets that you get. In this case, he made over $1,100 in the system. Next trade was also 1-lot trade, and he made over $1,000 in the system, and he set up the 1-2-3, and between the blue lines is where the trade was made. And here's another one. This one he had quite a few lots on it. He had 5 lots on here, and he made $1,400 on it. Aussie trade, again using the 1-2-3 system. Here's our 1, 2, 3 points. Lennox, would you like to talk about the simple 1-2-3 system in a nutshell?
Okay, so basically, again, and I keep using that word basically because it is a basic system. It's very straightforward. Once you get the hang of it and you can see the 1-2-3 setups. Here we have a chart. It's got the first wave. This is in Elliott wave. This is all based on Elliott wave, but you don't really need to know much about the Elliott wave. We trade the third wave. This is the first wave. This is the second wave. We trade this. This is what we're looking for to trade. You can also trade the fifth wave. It is the same as you're trading this wave, except that it's a little shorter. That's all. So you can also trade this wave coming down, which is also a third wave like this wave. This entry that we're showing here on the top, 1-2-3 top, this entry is a very conservative entry. There are a couple other entry areas that you can get in that are a little more aggressive, but this is a very, very conservative. There are a lot of our members that use this entry. It works beautifully. You're just basically waiting. Here's the word basically again. You're just waiting for a break of the number 2 point to enter and go to target. Here you're entering for a break of the number 2 point to the upside to go to your target. And the targets are as soon as you put on the wave calculator, which you can automatically put on the chart, or you can manually put on the chart. You have targets and you can just go right to your target. So for me, the London session, I don't get to play the London session because I'm on the west coast of Canada in Victoria, beautiful British Columbia, beautiful 10 degrees out today with sunshine here. So I don't get to play the London session. I have to go to bed and go to sleep. So I put my trades on and just let it go to target, and I get up in the morning and most of the time I have profits, and that's basically how I use the system. So that's it in a nutshell. How we identify the 1-2-3s. The system, and George is a programmer for MT4, and he's written the Elliott, the wave calculator for the MT4 system. And so I can manually place the 1-2-3 points. I would just click and place my points, and just like what I just did there, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go back to the previous screen. So that was without the points. So I'm looking for a downtrend in the market in this case, and then looking for an uptrend and a formation of 1, 2, 3 waves. That's going to take me to the upside. So once I determine a 1, 2, 3, I then want to just put my wave calculator on. It gives me my targets, and then I'm good to go. So let me just get this marker here, and I'll show you what I mean. So this is so we're looking for a move like this, and an entry. Not very good at this with this. An entry in somewhere in this area. Again, the conservative entry is above this point, and then we're in and going up to our targets, which can be anywhere to the top here. So that's basically what we're looking for. Okay, so let me go to the next screen. Okay, so that's what basically we're looking for. 1, 2, 3. Put that on the by pressing the wave calculator button. We put those numbers on, and it gives us a retrace of the 1 and the number 2 and the number 1. It gives us a retrace values, and these are all fib numbers, and then we have targets. And so in this case, if I were playing this is on the 1 hour time frame Aussie CAD. I like to enter a little bit more aggressively in this area of the chart, and so I would enter in here and just let it go to target. And I recommend the middle target, and that's it. Another way you can look at the charts is using the line charts. I know not many traders use the line charts, but it's very, very powerful with the 1, 2, 3s. You get to see them a lot clearer. If you took the EMAs off the screen, you would see them even clearer. But the EMAs are there for confirmation of the 1, 2, 3. So that's the main reason for the EMAs. We only use 2 EMAs, and we only use a 1 MACD, and that's it. It just gives us a confirmation of that 1, 2, 3 setup, and then we're in to target. It's very clear and easy to see the 1, 2, 3 with just using the line charts.
Okay, at this point, I want to explain the email alert system, because it turns out it's a very powerful system. What we have done is that we send out emails whenever an alert occurs. An email is sent to your email account, and basically this is the area that you get in your email. It tells you that in this case the Aussie hour 1 has a 1, 2, 3 bottom, and it occurred on January 14th at 1600 GMT. And it tells you that H1 on the MACD is going up, but it's weak. On the H4, the MACD is going down and it's weak, and on the daily it's up and it's strong. Now, in addition to this, you can click on this link and you will get this picture on the right-hand side that shows you exactly where your 1, 2, 3 is. You can mark it on your chart and do whatever you would like to find where your entry should be, etc. There are details on here explaining any information that you might be in doubt about, and we have videos on it, etc. Now, the nice thing about the emails is that you can tailor it to what you want. If you're looking at the London and New York section, the way I like to do, and I like to only look at the majors, but you can look at your cross pairs, and you can look at exotics too. Okay, now we have looked at the email, studied the email. This is a study where we looked at Euro USD, the 4-hour chart, for a period of about 2 months, and I analyzed every trade, winners and losing trades, and we found that we have, in this case, it was a 63% accuracy. I've done many studies, and they come out anywhere from 65 to 70% accuracy. occasionally there's one that's a little bit lower, maybe a 60% accuracy. But we've done over 200 pairs, all kinds of pairs, cross pairs, exotics, major pairs, etc. And this number seems to be fairly consistent. This is our win-loss ratio, and all time frames, etc. So we're continuing to backtest the results, but this has been such a very, very good system that we're emphasizing it more so that people can take advantage of it. Now, this is an example of one of the latest things. I'll let you talk about this, Lennox. This is your baby, the new thing that you've introduced.
Okay, this is the playbook. So I used to just do a weekly playbook, which was just covering what I'm seeing setting up for the entire week. So I would send that out on Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening before the London session. But in the new year here, we decided to do this on a daily basis because I go through the charts each day anyways to see what's setting up. So it was best that I just do a quick recording of what I'm seeing. And so I send out a video to all the members each evening before the London Open, just going over what I'm seeing setting up in the markets and using the US dollar index and how its relationship with the major pairs specifically. And that really helps everyone to get an idea of which major pairs they should be jumping into or staying out of, and just an overall gauge of the market for that upcoming session in the London. Okay,
we have some testimonials from people. Lennox, would you like to talk about Andre?
Sure. This is my nephew Andre. He lives in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and he's just this is what he's saying there. You can see that for yourself. He just started, got an interest in it over the years. As I used to I go to Toronto every year to visit mom and my sisters and so forth, and then watching this young man grow, and in his teens he went through some troubled times, and now he's in his early 20s, just 22 years old. And I used to come and sit and play the markets, and he would come and watch me, but I would try to explain to him, but of course he was young and he didn't really understand. And now at 22, he decided that he wanted to learn. So I said, okay, let's do it. So we Skype daily, and he's delved into it with both feet basically, and doing quite well, especially in the stock market, because I still trade the option market with stocks. And I mean, he had one day with Facebook with a couple. I think he went in with two options. He made like $3,000 in one play, just up with 2 contracts. So that's the kind of money in the options. And of course with Forex now, he's starting to delve into Forex a little bit more now. And it's just wonderful to see that he's doing so well. His mom is quite ecstatic that he's turned around and doing something constructive, as it were.
Joe took a number of private sessions with us, and he was really struggling at the beginning. And after the private sessions, he has caught on to the whole thing and is now full force into it, making money at this using the 1-2-3 method, and is really happy with it that he took a private mentoring with us. And we have other people. Gregory, he's regularly posting to the room. Gregory so fell in love with the system that he even gave a webinar, which is on the resource area in our site. But a number of other people have found it was quite beneficial to them using the 1-2-3 system. And we have one person, Sanji, who has fallen in love with the system and is using it successfully, and is now teaching his 2 young sons how to use the system. we've added a lot of features over the past years. We started out using a weekly playbook. We've added the emails. The trading lounge has really been quite successful because people exchange their ideas in there. We talk about trades just as they're getting underway, and we go over any success and failures, etc. So it's a huge learning experience. We've added a news indicator that you can put on your MT4 chart to keep you aware of important news that's coming out. We have a dollar index that you can put onto your chart for comparisons. And as Lennox has talked about, we've added a daily playbook video, which is from Sundays to Thursdays, just before the London open market. And this has been very, very successful. In our course, we have a ton of things that you can go over, and I've mentioned the daily playbook videos and Skype room. We have email support, and there's all kinds of webinars that you can review, all the webinars that we've done, etc. It is just a heck of a lot in there. And here's just a sample of all the things, but I'm not going to go over each one of them. Now, on a monthly basis, we used to start off the first month at $199. We put it down to $99 for the first month and $99 after that. And it's going to be a limited time offer that will end in 48 hours. Or we have a real deal, which is 6 months to prepay, and that's for $497, which is 28% discount. Okay. Now, what we have added that is really exciting, and we've done this because the people who have taken advantage of this have really found it to be rewarding. You can get 2 private sessions, which used to be $1,000, and we reduced it to $495. And in this private session, we can go over any points that you want to go over and get your trading on a fast-track basis. The people who have gone to 5 sessions are really, they're on fire at this point because we've been able to show them exactly what to do, go over how they're trading, etc., and get them to the starting gate.
George, if I may say, one of our members who is doing incredibly well in, with his trades, he stated that it took him 3 months to really get a handle on exactly how this was working and for him to finally start making some profits, in a consistent manner. So if anyone's coming on for a 1 month and thinking that they're going to learn the system, it's just not going to happen. This is you need to really take the time to, if you really want to trade and make profits, to learn the system, and once you do, you'll be well rewarded.
Okay, and finally, the first 7 people that sign up can get a private Skype session with Lennox during market trading hours, where he can look over his shoulder and see how he puts on trades, etc., ask questions. It's really a nice way to get a good introduction. As I say, this, as Lennox has mentioned also, the system is easy to use, but you've got to learn the fundamental rules of it. And have been into trading a while, you know the problems. You have to learn a new system and get rid of some old habits, which might be bad habits. And once you do, you can turn around your trading and really make a success of it. So that's pretty much the 1, 2, 3 system. And what we'd like to do is go over some questions now. There was a question asked, where was your entry point on the email charts that I was showing? John, what we do on the emails is that our entry point is somewhere around point number 3 on the 1, 2, 3 method. You can do it as a up to the conservative point of number 2, And if you do that, we tend to put the stop, say, usually about 5 pips below point number 3, and let it go to the target. As Lennox mentioned, we usually recommend the middle point target.
I can show an example on the live charts once once we're done.
Let's go over the questions at first, and then we'll go to live charts. When you on the hourly chart alerts, do you need to check higher time frames? Yes, the whole system does depend upon knowing where you are on the chart. That's a very, very good question. Knowing where you are in the chart is fundamental to the system.
Indeed.
Wish we had an uncle like you, Lennox.
That's nice.
Go and explain trades on the chart. Yes, we will be doing that. What are the moving averages and the MACD standard, please? Well, Lennox will go over that with you. When you take a look at the chart, can you see so many 1, 2, 3 setups? How will I confirm which 1, 2, 3 is the one to take? Well, that should be the latest one, Rob. But yes, Lennox will go over that. Does Lennox place overnight trades for London? Yes.
Yes.
He will. Lennox, why don't you take over the chart?
And can we all see me okay?
Yes, I see you.
I'm going to switch templates to a little wider one. Here we go. Okay. All right. So I'm on the GBP Japanese yen pair. The question was asked, do you look at a higher time frame? Yes, this is crucial to the whole game of playing this market. If you don't know where you are on the chart overall, you're lost. You know, you need to know where you are on the chart. Having a basic understanding of the Elliott wave really helps. Again, it's not critical that you need to know that, but it is a help. And in our resources area, there are some links to a quick 10-lesson tutorial on the Elliott wave. It just gives you an idea of how to count the waves. So once you have an idea of how that is, then you can navigate around the charts and feel confident about where you are on the chart. So I'm looking at, I'll just break down GBP Japanese yen as an example. Just looking at the chart from the monthly time frame, we can see that in this case, we've had the highest point on the chart is here, and the lowest point on the chart is down here. So that tells me a great deal. So in all the time that the chart is from its inception, way back in November of 1996, you know, we've hit a peak and a valley at that, and this is it. So it's now easy to make the count, because you can see that we have one wave up here, down to a third wave, fourth wave, down to a fifth wave, and again another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. I'm doing this, you know, rather just glossing over it, but essentially here we had a 1, 2, 3 top, and it's very easy for us to find the 1, 2, 3 tops and bottoms, because we're using 2 indicators. Like I said, we use 2 EMAs, and that tells us right away, just with the EMAs alone, that there are 1, 2, 3s setting up. In Elliott wave, it's called a 1 and 2. So, for example, I'll just on the chart here, I'll just show you, for example. So I can do this. I can actually add the points of the waves so that you can see them quite clearly. So that's like something like that. I'll just shrink the chart a little bit so you can see. So that's your basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 count in Elliott wave. I can then switch it over to here and do the same thing. 1, 2, and 3. So something like that. You can go 3 here, or you could go 3 here, 4, and 5. So again, something like that. And again, I can do that at this point here. It's a little tighter, but it's basically the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're looking for 5 to probably come down this way, something like that. That's a possibility. Right now we're in a move back to the upside on this bar, so this could take a while to play out. So I'm looking for something like that in this case, or this could have been 3 at this point here. You could use 3 here. You could use 4 here. You could do 5 to here. That's that little move there. That's taken us to here, and now we're in kind of no man's land. So there's a number of ways you can count this, but again, I'm just kind of glossing over it in essence. So looking for the 1, 2, 3s is what we're all about, and the 1, 2, 3s is the Elliott wave 1, 2. So when we're putting our 1, 2, 3s on, we're just doing a 1, a 2, and 3. That's what we're looking for. And once we do that, then we get our targets, and we go to our targets, and we're out of the trade. So it's very, very straightforward that way. So let me just delete all these. So what I'm looking for when I'm trading, I'm looking for, this is on the monthly, mind you, so it's a totally different thing. So it's very difficult to play off the monthly. So we're just looking for 1, 2, 3s like this, and it gives us our targets, and you can go to any of these targets that you want, depending on your risk tolerance. So that's basically how that works. And George, like I said, is the one that has created this, done the programming for this. He's done the programming for the alerts and a lot of the indicators that we have. George is just a great programmer. I also program, but I don't have much time to delve into it now. I was just telling George, we were talking the other day, and I was saying I wish I could be there sitting with you to go over this stuff, because we're trying to program the alerts so that we're putting the targets on and entries for all of them. And it's quite a chore, and I know that George is doing a great job, and we'll have something soon for everyone. So looking forward to that. Okay, so that's basically, so on the monthly, we're looking at the overall picture of the chart. We want to kind of know where we are on the chart. So we know that right now we're in a sort of a downtrend, but we've had this big green bar, and it's one of those news. This is all news stuff because the British pound and the Brexit. Mrs. May over there is having quite a time. She just got the vote of confidence, so that kind of pushed the market up today. So if I drop down to the weekly chart, I then can see on the weekly, make it big, that we came all the way down, and now we're sort of going across. So this kind of choppiness tells me that we are in some type of a fourth wave area of the chart. So like I was saying, this could be a 3. We could have a 4 over in this area, and we're looking to go to go lower. So the Brexit stuff is not over. And that's basically what this chart is telling us. There's a lot of indecision in here. There's a lot of fighting going on between the buyers and the sellers. So we're in a position where opportunities exist on the lower time frames, but overall we want to see what the picture is. And it's very choppy. You have to be very careful in here. You can make quick pips, yes, but you have to be very careful. So go down to the daily, and you can see that we've been in a downtrend. And we can spot our 1, 2, 3s, and that's all we're looking for. Again, are those 1, 2, 3. So there's a large 1, 2, 3, or you can use the most current, smaller one on the daily time frame. So this would have been a nice daily time frame 1, 2, 3. Again, it's an Elliott wave 1, 2, which consists of 5 waves, and that would be a play to the downside on that. So had you been in that one, you could have made some nice pips going down. This was quite the move just the other day. You could have also used the smaller of the 1, 2, 3s. There's 2 1, 2, 3s there, so you can, if you caught the first one right at the death cross in this case, you would have made some pips a little closer up. But you catch the whole thing, and then you make more. So that's how we basically look at it. On the daily, again, it's moved right back up and formed another 1, 2, 3 at this point with a golden cross. So it's telling us that price is on the go to the upside. So this is I call this an anomalous bar because it's a bit it's a news bar, and so it is in effect you have to you have to use it because it's there, but it's quite out of the ordinary. So it has a 1, 2, 3 there. So it's giving us targets back up to the previous resistance area, and so you could ride this up to at least the first set of targets here, possibly. But we do have resistance, so we look at resistance and support as well, but not as deeply as you just kind of the 1, 2, 3 with the calculator gives you the previous support resistance areas. So you could kind of say, okay, maybe it might not even break this first resistance area and that type of thing. So that's what we're looking for. The 1, 2, 3 bottom, we're looking for the crosses, and we're entering. So if we drop down to the 4-hour, I'll show you how we can actually enter a trade. So on the 4-hour, you can see that there's the big 1, 2, 3 that's taking this up. But if I drop down to the 1-hour, and this is the time frame that I usually try to get you as a new member to start off from, you can find 1, 2, 3s and make trades in a reasonable amount of time. Make some profits, within a few hours and so forth. Okay, so just again, ignoring this huge move here, I'll look at it. I'll look at the 1, 2, 3 over at this point on the chart. So there was a 1, 2, 3 here. So if you had seen this move and you were really watching and you saw this 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here we have a 1, 2, 3. It gives me my retracement. This is the 38%, the 50%, and I can have the values show if I want. You can set those in the inputs for the indicator. You can show the actual values, and so there are a number of ways to enter this trade. Here are our first set of targets, and then you have higher targets. So what I recommend, of course, with new members, you get into your trade, and you can always just use the more conservative entry, which is a break above the number 2 point, which would be a buy stop in this case, and you would just take that and go up to the middle target. This would be, in this case, about 72 pips, which is not too bad. So that's just using the conservative entry. There are other entries, like I say, you can be a lot more aggressive and get into the trade in this area, which is where I like to get in. I like to get in around the 62% retrace of the move. And again, I don't want to get into too much details, but this is a really good way to enter the market. And what that would do if you did it from that entry in this area, say I let's go in between. We're looking at the difference here. It's 123 pips. So quite a difference from the 72 pips. So and that's another, and there's still another entry that you can take, and that just involves a quick diagonal trend line, which cuts across from previous high on the downtrend or previous low on an uptrend, and cuts across your top of your number 2 point, and that what you'd be looking for is a break of that line to the upside to enter the market. So you can get a nice trade doing that. And this now is just a matter of where you place your stops. And we usually, with the alerts that George is programming, we're making it, of course, mechanical so that your stop is always at the same distance. And when you're playing it for real, though, you have to gauge it based on your risk tolerance. So if you're entering on a break of the number 2 point, you have to say, okay, to yourself, how much am I willing to risk? Are you willing to risk 25 pips? Or if it's too much, then you have to risk less, and you have to find a spot on the chart where it's going to be a good amount for your risk tolerance. So at that point, you can always drop down to lower time frames to gauge it using bars or a set amount. I don't like the set amount type of stop loss trading, but again, based on your risk tolerance, you have to come up with something that works for yourself. So that's again, in a nutshell, that's how our system works. I've basically given it to you here. It's very straightforward. The wave calculator gives us our targets. It's just a matter of identifying the 1, 2, 3. But you don't even have to do that because the alerts will tell you. For example, if I just check the alerts right now, let's just see if there's been a recent alert. And I can tell you if something. So the most recent alert I've got was at 12. New Zealand Swiss H4 bottom, for example. So it's telling me that the New Zealand Swiss had about a 4 hour on the 4 hour chart, and it had a bottom. So it's giving me the latest cross at this point. So there is you can clearly see that there is you could use the smaller 1, 2, 3 at this point, or you could use the entire thing. You see it, you can look at it and decide for yourself which one you want to use, and that would be the trade, and that would be your targets. So at this point, if you had seen this alert and you decided to look at it and take advantage of it, depending on where you see it, of course, and say you went the conservative way, you would be up 90 pips right now, going towards your targets. So that's the kind of how the alerts come into you, and you can then take a look at it and decide where you want to enter. So if you got the alert at this point and you saw it here, you could then make that entry and make even more pips if you got in early in this area. So that's the kind of thing at this point. So that's 125 pips, 26 pips or so that you're up. Again, these are 4 hour bars, so this is of course a long time on the 4 hour chart. So we give alerts for the 4 hour and the 1 hour, and that's how the alerts come out. So you don't even have to go searching around for 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3s.
Well, Lennox, can I interrupt a second? Because sometimes you get an alert on the 4 hour chart, but when you look at it, the train has sort of left the station, and then going down to the 1 hour or 30-minute chart, you might find a better entry where you get an additional crossing point and can get in.
That's right. I mean, you get the alert, but you can go down to a lower time frame, and if you see an opportunity to get in on this, we call it a train. And the reason why I call it a train is because this is your train. The train's right here in your 1, 2, 3, and you're getting into your seat at this point on the train, and then you take advantage of the ride to the next station, which is your target. So whenever price breaks above the number 2 point, the train is leaving the station. So you at that point, it's very, you're going to be getting less profits. So even if you drop down to the 1 hour and found the 1, 2, 3, which is forming right now, your profits are going to be a lot less than if you got in down at the main station and got a comfortable seat. So that's what the basic premise of that is.
And as you can see now on this chart, we actually would still be waiting for the entry point. You can begin to set up the 1, 2, 3, but it really hasn't properly formed yet.
So right now right now it's setting up a 1, 2, 3 at this point here on the 1 hour time frame, and you would have to wait for the confirmation of the MACD and your EMAs before taking that trade. So if I were trading this, I would be doing a limit order and waiting for a retrace back down into this area, because it does the Elliott wave 1, 2 move, and then it goes. So I would be looking for that and putting my stop below the low, and that's how I basically play my trades. Very straightforward, and you just let it go to your targets. And in this case, your targets are here for the 1 hour time frame, so you can decide which ones you want to go to, and that's it. When I traded, I used to always trade with the bar charts and no EMAs whatsoever. So I would have my chart. This is what my charts would look like when I traded, and so I had no need for any any indicators, not even the MACD. I had no MACD, so this would be gone as well. And this was my chart, and I would then be looking for the Elliott wave 1, 2 in order to trade. So I would say, okay, let's see what's going on, and I would see it there, and I would just put it on like that. So that's how I traded back before I met Peter. My charts were clean. I would use these bars, and of course, I didn't have the wave calculator like this. I would use a wave calculator like this, which was the original wave calculator that I created, and I would just put I only needed to put 2 points in, my number 1 and my number 2 points, so I'd enter those into the calculator and it would give me my targets, and that's basically what I did. So that was, and that's how that worked. And so now, like I say, you can also use the line chart, which also gives you a 1, 2, 3 very clearly, and you can see the 1, 2, 3s very clearly, and you can make trades. Just you can see them very easily.
Okay, the MACD numbers that we use are very close to the standard numbers in the industry, 1321. Another question is smallest trading capital. We've had people in the room that have started with $100, and one person started with $100. In 2 months' time, he came up to $2,000. Now, not everybody can do that, but you get the method, it works.
Yeah, whatever your situation is, when I started, I started out in the Forex world. I just took a month study. I used babypips.com to get an idea of what the Forex was all about. I started off with 5,000 account. My first trade, like I said, was 10 lots. And I can't even remember what I traded, but it had doubled, in a few hours. When I got up to 5,000 and doubled it, I was pretty stoked. I took the profits, and I never looked back. I'm always looking at what other people are doing to see if we can enhance the 1, 2, 3 in any way. And coming back to the basics is what's the key for me. To just go back to the basics of the 1, 2, 3 system, and it works.
Yeah, the other thing is that we talk a lot about risk management, money management, etc. It's extremely important to maintain an account. In fact, I've given, there's videos around that I've given on trading where you can actually only win 45% of the time and still increase your capital. It really is proper risk management will get you to the end game. Most of the people in the room are very conservative traders, and they use point number 2, and they're making a couple hundred pips a week, days even on trades. So it's just learning the system properly, and that's why we suggest spend 3 months to 6 months at it. If you can take the sessions with us, you can speed up the results a lot more. But the system really does work beautifully.
Okay, so I think we're at the 1 hour time.
Yes.
If there are no other questions, we'll again thank you for your time. We really appreciate that. And I hope you decide to join us.
Lorraine, do you demo, how long does it take to demo the system? Lorraine, it's really up to the individual because people come into our course at different stages of knowing trading, etc. But we can work with you to develop a program that will suit your needs properly. And I see that you have signed up, so you will be getting lessons with us.
Yeah, we'll go over the finer details. I mean, I've just glossed over what the system, but yeah, once you get an idea of it,
we go over lot sizing and money management. It's such a critical part of developing a good trading habits, etc. There is a question, Lennox. Euro yen. Is there a 1, 2, 3 on the 1 hour chart going up? Sorry, Rob, I missed that question.
Yes, there is. And now I'll just quickly show you, and I'll explain something to you. There is a 1, 2, 3 there. I'm just looking at it. I'm looking at it without any EMAs or anything like that, like I told you. So there is a 1, 2, 3 bottom, and there's another 1, 2, 3 bottom there, and there's another 1, 2, 3 there again, and it is moving very nicely, and you can see that we're almost up to our target. So that would have been a beauty play, getting in. If you went in again conservatively to the first target, that's 42 pips. To the second target, 54 pips, 53 pips. To the high target, this is the target I like to go to, is 68 pips. That's a conservative entry. If you went in a little aggressively, of course, you make a lot more. However, the one thing about the 1, 2, 3 is tanking. You know, it's going to just roll over and go down. So you need to start from the monthly time frame, like I explained, and to see the bigger picture before you can go to the 1 hour time frame and decide to jump into a trade. So those are all the little finer points of the system that you get into so that you don't make mistakes and lose your money. But okay. Good eye on that one.
Are there any other questions?
So in this case, on this chart, the train has left the station.
Right. There's still some pips to be had, but it's a lot riskier at this point.
Yes.
A lot more riskier. Because you can see you're almost at the point where you're going to get some very good resistance.
And you can see how the wave calculator has given us the targets, and we're at the previous resistance. So, okay. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.